I'm not very good at driving buggies. Hello, welcome to Popalong RC, the RC car channel dedicated to RC car racing. And if you're a regular to the channel, you will know that we like running all kinds of RC cars, whether it's on-road, off-road, 1/12 scale, 1/5 scale, whatever. We will drive absolutely anything. We've done crawling, we've done bashing, we've done drifting, we've done a little bit of everything here at Popalong RC. But our main focus is about racing, getting you guys racing at local clubs, getting you guys involved. Now, recently we have had some of the best days racing, I think, ever. The recent visit to Stopfold for their 40th anniversary was one of those moments where the crosshairs aligned and everything just fell into place. And the weather was perfect, the people were perfect, the atmosphere was perfect, the racing was amazing. It was just a really, really good day out. We obviously had our Popalong Rally, again, fantastic vibes. Great fun. And then there is, coming up very soon, the Popalong Vintage GP at Hearts, which is another club we've been running at quite a lot. But the thing is, right, I prefer on-road to off-road. I have done a lot of on-road racing, and I've done a little bit of the off-road racing. Now, with the off-road racing, it's great, but I don't feel like I'm racing when I'm running my buggy. I feel like I'm driving it. I'm competing against the track more than I'm competing against my peers. Whereas when I go on-road racing, I feel like the car is planted, it's on the track. I can drive the car to its limits, and I feel like I can race. I can start thinking about racing lines. I can start thinking about where I'm going to overtake, how I'm going to negotiate traffic. Whereas with the buggies, I'm so fixated on just trying to get the buggy round the track, I'm not getting my racing fix. So, in this video, we're going to take a quick look at some of the on-road cars that I've got coming to the channel very soon. Here in front of me, I have a couple of cars that I want to talk about, and also, don't tell Mark, but I bought myself a new on-road car. Anyway, we'll come to that in a second. So, we've had a few questions on the channel, which I'm hoping to answer right now. So here we have my ATOM3, and if I take the shell off, you can see that is fitted now with some lovely electrics. We have got a 25.5 term just stock motor. We have got a just stock Hobbywing 2S ESC, and we have got the Amy Booth 2S battery in there. I've got my Fly Sky transmitter, and I've got a brand new Core RC servo. This car now, the only thing I need to change now is the front wheels. I've already done the changes for the rear axle so I can run the slightly wider wheels. So let's take a quick look at what I needed to do. Today's project is to do with this here. This is my ATOM3, and I'm looking to convert it into an LMGT3 car. So let's get tidied up and get started. So the main reason for needing to make some changes is these are the control tyres we use at my club for GT12, and these are the control tyres that they're going to be running in the LMGT3 class. And if we put the two next to each other, you can see that the wheels are a lot wider, and if I was to place it in line, you can see that the gear diff there is in the way. So we need to change this rear axle and make it so these tyres can fit on. Okay then, so let's take a quick look at this. We can see here that the spur gear is in line with the pinion gear, and then we have obviously the gear diff attached to the old wheels, and width wise not too dissimilar. Okay, so what I've had to do is I've changed over to a spool, and then we've got a slightly different setup with the hexes to allow for the larger wheels. Now you can see there the wheels are considerably larger. They come in a lot more rather than going out. And I do need to just shift my motor ever so slightly to make it all fit in there nicely. So instead of having, if we have a quick look on the end here, the 3 screws to hold the wheels on like this, which is typical with LMP, we have now got one wheel nut in the same way that you have with most other cars, because I've now put in place the hex conversion. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to whip this wheel off and show you what that looks like. So as you can see here, we have got this lovely silver piece on the back of the car, and now that is the rear hex for an Eclipse 6. And then what you also need is the screw that you can see coming out the top there. So that is the rear hex axle screw. So that's this part here, which you slide in from inside, put this over the rear shaft, and then it screws in with one of these screws. I'll just turn that around, just screw that in to clamp it into place, and then you put your wheel on top, and just a normal nut tightens that all up. So yeah, that is the rear axle done. So now the rear axle's done, what I need to do is look at the rest of the car. So first thing I'm going to do is the weight limit for this car is a little bit lighter, so therefore I'm going to take out all these additional chassis weights. So now I'm just going to give this a little bit of a clean up before we move on to the next step. So next up, it's time to get the old soldering iron out, and I'm going to be putting the Just Stocks ESC. I just need to solder on a Just Stock 25.5 turn fixed timing motor, and then this car should be almost ready to go. I have spotted one more thing as well. The plug that was on the end of my servo is broken, so I need to fix that up as well. So as I said, all I really need to do now is change the front wheels over to the purple stripe, and this car is ready to run in the LMGT3 class. I've actually been a fan of the GT12 class for a very long time. I first got a Schumacher Superstock back when they first came out, and I have been running GT12 on and off since its conception, really. I had a long break, and then I got my budget second-hand ATOM, and I ran that for a while. And then when the ATOM3 came out, I started running this. It's fair to say I had a lot to learn, because setting up these cars isn't like running a normal touring car. The setup is completely different. The tyre wear and things like that is something that you need to get used to. So I actually quite enjoy running GT12, and because of the channel I thought, you know what, it'll be interesting to see how a 25.5 turn brushless 2S system will compare to what they're running in the current GT12. Now, since I have been playing with this, they've already started running GT12s at a couple of my local clubs, running the 25.5 turn 2S system. So it'll be interesting to see how this compares against them with the wider wheels, see if it makes any difference. This might be the future of the GT12 class. Do we need another class called the LMGT3? Or is the GT12 class already there? Does it already exist? Is there already a class that sits between the Mini and the LMP? Anyway, this channel is all about experimentation, having a laugh, trying new things. So this is a journey if you're interested in. Do like, subscribe and follow. If you've got any theories and comments on this, please pop them in the comments down below. Anyway, let's move the GT12/LMGT3 ATOM3 Schumacher car over this way and bring in the next car, which is this one here. So I have had a busy week on this car. Hopefully you saw the video recently where I took my son over to West London for a little practice session in preparation for the Iconic Cup. Now, I had some pros have a little look at my car and they have suggested I make a few changes. One of the suggestions were, if you are going to run a motor, what they suggest is you water dip it. So, I have never actually water dipped a motor before, because stuff like that I normally let Mark do, because he loves to tinker, does Mark. He likes to do everything he can to get the best performance. So I thought, you know what? How do I go about water dipping a motor? Having never done it before, I looked into it and I kind of thought, I think I've got a plan. So I'm going to leave this running for about 20 minutes. We're about 10 minutes in at the moment. So this car is now pretty much ready to go. I've got the new motor in. I've got the different springs on the front. All I need to do now is fit the tyres, and this car is ready to race in the Iconic Cup this weekend. I absolutely can't wait. As I say, I think personally I enjoy racing my Tamiya's and my GT12s more than I do the buggies, so I'm really looking forward to getting back on track. I like my on-road racing, and if I could say what form of racing I like more than any, I believe Iconic Cup last year running my Mini, which is two-wheel drive fronty. That's some of the best racing I've ever done. Absolutely love the way the fronty cars drive. And I said many moons ago, when the fronty series started in the UK, I must get myself one of those. I want some of that. And there was an FT8 which had come out, which seemed to be doing really well on the circuit, and recently those cars have been going rather cheap. And I was chatting to Pro Racer Mark and I said, Mark, I'm thinking, right, the FT8s are going well cheap at the moment. I think I'm going to get one so I can experience the fronty driving. And he said to me, he said, why are you going to do that, boss? Why are you going to buy yourself a car and then go to these big races and guarantee yourself running a slower car than everyone else? Why don't you spend all the Popalong funds and get yourself an FT9? So, because Pro Racer Mark told me to, I got myself an FT9. And the first Mark's going to hear of this is when he sees this video. So, Mark, what we're going to do with my lovely new FT9. I'm so excited.